Your Country 1039 KGRT, one of my absolute favorites from Sam Hunt, and Take Your Time.
Time now for your question of the day. Brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Markets of Las Cruces. Fresh produce, bread, meat, honey, food trucks, handmade art, music, and more. Every Saturday and Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., downtown Las Cruces.
That's right. Your question of the day brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces. And today, well, we're going to get a little bit nerdy, all right? Just a little bit nerdy because it's about video games, but we're not talking about any of the new games or anything else like it's out there. We're talking some pretty old games because apparently there is a thread running on Reddit asking people the question, what video game do you remember enjoying that hardly anyone ever seems to mention these days? Is it one of those games that you play on your phone, you know, maybe a classic solitaire on the computer? Minesweeper? Nobody talks about that one anymore, does they? But the post has people buzzing and taking trips down memory lane, suggesting dozens of games from back in the day. Stuff like Gauntlet Legends. I was never a big fan of that one. Never played it. Also, one that goes old school, Lode Runner. I remember playing that one during my computer classes, and actually met my high school girlfriend's mother. She was the person running the computer department at the central office there. Fred and I used to go down there and work on computer programs and play video games. I told you it was going to get geeky, didn't I? Yeah. Or other games like Earthworm Jim. Remember that one? Road Rash, Pitfall. You know, all those classic games from back in the day. Even like some of those handheld games you used to play that were just so old. But, you know, nobody really thinks about them these days. Maybe they should make a comeback, that type of thing. So my question for you, pose the same one they posed online. What video game do you remember enjoying that hardly anyone ever seems to mention these days? And when I'm thinking back on some of those ones, so many different games that I played, but I'm a big fan of a game called Shining Force. I'm not going to go into it, but let's just say it took me many decades to finish playing that one for sure. And Mom chimed in. She says, no games. I'm not sure if she's telling me not to play my games anymore, which has happened before. She just didn't play any games. Mom's not a big video game person. But yeah, what about you? Are there any video games you remember enjoying maybe as a kid or back in the day that hardly anyone ever seems to mention these days? All right. Yeah, go ahead and let me know your answers. You can call those in. You can text those in, 575-523-KGRT. And, of course, you can always leave your comments down below on our social media pages at Facebook and YouTube. Love going through those answers throughout the day. Just got a text message says Pong. Actually, I think Pong should make a comeback for sure. It'd be a lot of fun. Can you see a lot of the young kids these days trying to play some of those old school games? Probably get frustrated and say, it's too hard. Yeah, it was. Let me know your answers for our question of the day. Okay. All right, good. Everything's playing. I just want to make sure that everything was okay on air because we are exclusively up on our social media pages right now. And yeah, I mean, I am a video game kid. My dad got Pong like back in the late 70s and stuff. So I remember playing that. Between me and my brothers, we've owned just about every gaming system that you can imagine. I remember playing a drag racing game on the Atari with my dad. Sometimes that was a whole lot of fun. And yeah, just all those different games. But if I'm thinking about some of the old classics that people just don't talk about, I mean, everybody talks about Pac-Man and Galaga and all those other, arcade games and stuff. And some of those make some comebacks, especially with the new releases of the new Atari. But yeah, what game do you just not hear people talking about that much anymore? I keep telling myself that I'm going to actually play like a bunch of old school games on my Twitch channel, and I should probably go ahead and break down and get that one done. But anyway, what about you? What video games do you remember enjoying that hardly anyone ever seems to mention these days? And this can be for any age, because I know a lot of people like playing those games on their phones. My grandmother was a big Tetris player on the old school Game Boy. That's a true story. She loved that game. So, yeah, what video games do you think hardly anyone ever mentions these days. And I wonder if the kids can play them because they would think it would be hard. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on in and around the world today. What is it? An oil painting from, okay, come on. I know this art stuff is crazy, but an oil painting of a Filet-O-Fish sandwich was recently sold on eBay for $3,500. I really got to start looking into selling some art. Let's see. Car prices may be skyrocketing an average of $12,000 due to the new tariffs imposed by the U.S. and other countries. I could see that happening. Casey Anthony, who was acquitted of murdering her daughter in 2011, is now on TikTok giving legal advice. Okay. The Academy Awards were watched by 18.7 million. That's down 19.5 million viewers from last year. It lost half of its viewership. Start nominating people, movies that people have known. That would help. Let's see. Adrian Brody set a new record for the longest Oscar acceptance speech. Apparently it went 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So that was boring. And let's see. Anything else? No. Well, okay. One more bit of Oscar news. Demi Moore took her Oscars loss in stride by indulging in 2 trays of French fries with her daughters because nothing makes you feel better than comfort food. French fries definitely count. Once again, looking for answers for our question of the day. What video game do you remember enjoying that hardly anyone ever seems to mention these days? Somebody texted me the answer Pong, which I agree. Not a lot of people talk about it these days, but it needs to make a comeback. And Mom chimed in saying she doesn't play video games. And I can attest to that. She does not. But let me know your answers for our question of the day, brought to you by the Farmers and Crafts Market of Las Cruces.